All right, I have a little rant. It's not a big rant. It's not crazy or anything like that. It's just something that I've been thinking about. I kind of want to document it. I don't know. I rant a lot at work and shit like that. None of this gets recorded. So I just want to put it somewhat on a record, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really fucking matter. I'm just ranting, driving back from running an errand, and I'm ranting. Anyways. So, obviously you can see that I am black. It's very obvious. So this rant has something to do with that. Anyways. So, been running into a couple of issues when black issues have come up in the past, i.e. stuff like, you know, black youth getting shot, unarmed black kids getting shot in the streets. And I'll be the first one to say it, or maybe one of few to say that I'm happy that I live here in Canada, because this shit doesn't happen in Toronto as much as it happens in the United States. But that doesn't mean I need to be disconnected from what's actually happening in the world, right? So, you know, I've brought up issues with people from time to time just to engage in conversation, just to talk about, say, hey, what do you think about what's going on in the States right now? And for the most part, the kind of responses I always get is kind of like, why does it have to be the color of the guy's skin that's the focus of, or at least the subject of the conversation? And, you know, the only thing that I'm thinking in my head is like, well, most of the people that are getting shot in the streets that we're hearing about in the news are black, unarmed people by, you know, trigger-happy police officers. So when you put those two things together, you think about, you know, I'm only seeing black kids getting shot in the streets, or, you know, young black men getting shot in the streets, and I'm only seeing it happen by, you know, trigger-happy cops. I mean, I'm sorry, but that'll have to be the fucking subject, all right? It's kind of obvious. It's the only point worth talking about, because it's something that we're seeing that's happening all the time. Well, even furthermore, people tend to think that I'm like extremely closer to the situation because I'm black, right? And though part of that, they might actually be a little bit accurate, but for the most part, I'm just a human being on this planet noticing some really evil shit going on. And I'll save it for another rant, but there's a bunch of other shit going on in the rest of the world that I want to talk about, but that's not the subject today. So, you know, when people say, you know, it's because you're black, you know, you think this is such an injustice, and I get offended for a couple of reasons, right? I get offended mainly because, yeah, it is an injustice that's going on right now with all these brother men getting killed, and there's little to no repercussions coming of it. So that's upsetting. And the other thing is that, you know, even though I was born in Trinidad and Tobago and I moved to Canada at a young age and everything like that, I was born in a black society, or it's not an African-American society, it's a Trinidadian society, but black society. When I moved here, there was, you know, just people, and that's the way I had to kind of evolve, right? I wasn't surrounded by black people all the time. I was just surrounded by people, right? More white than black. But I came here when I was 11 years old, and I did like 1 year of elementary, right? So I was in elementary school for about 1 year. Then I went off to high school. Then I went off to college, and then I made all the friends that I know today. And when I have this conversation with people, I always seem to think that, you know, I have the same information that you have. I'm not privy to some information. It's not like a group of black people get together every now and then and we just start to talk about how we're going to really upset our white friends. How we're going to just be like, let's drop some knowledge on them that they don't know about. The news, yeah, like the news is just trying to talk to black people. If that was the case, I mean, I don't think they'd be showing black people getting shot in the streets all the time. So the real point that I'm trying to get across here is that You know, if we all grew up in a society together and we all have access to the same information, why does it seem that I would be more passionate about a subject than you, even though you're fully aware of what the fuck is going on right now? And you shouldn't just hear this just because I'm black. That's the thing. That's one of the other things that bother me too. I am not the authority on this situation, on this subject. I am not the guy, right? But people seem to think what I say matters more because I'm black. That's upsetting to me. It should just be people just finding a problem with this whole situation and saying something about it, right? That's what I think. Like, I mean, I see injustice going on in other parts of the world and I get upset, and I'm not fucking Syrian. I'm not a Palestinian. I'm not Israeli. My point there was to not pick a side. But anyways, I just really want everybody to be aware that what's going on here is it's a global issue, man. It's not just the blacks that should be getting mad about this. It should be the whites too. It should be the Chinese. It should be the Japanese. It should be everybody. Everybody should realize that shit's going on right now, and we gotta stop picking sides, man. Because we all have the information ready to us. We all do. So we need to just cut this shit out, man. You know? And that's just my rant about what's going on. Because I figure I'm gonna start talking it out, because there's no point in crying. Because sometimes I feel like crying. Sometimes I'm watching the news and I'll see, it'll be like, CBC or some shit, or the National or something like that, if I'm home from work early enough to watch it. And it'll be, it'll start the news with, for example, this is how Canada will report it. I was in Ottawa the other day for Christmas, watching the news. The news opens up with, oh, what a snowfall. Did anybody see that snowfall? I think we got like 2 feet of snow. Shit happened in O-Town. O-Town got real. They were covered with some fucking snow. Top story. All right, so if you had plans to go anywhere that night, tough scene. You're barricaded in your house. Ain't shit for you to do, but enjoy the snow. Maybe take your kids out in the front lawn and slide around in some shit. You ain't going into work today. How about 20 minutes into the program, they start talking about what's going on in Chicago. It only was about to make me cry because people getting shot in the streets is not a top story. It wasn't even the second story, which is even weirder. It was 20 minutes into it, and I think after that they followed it up with some Black Friday stuff, right? I guess they probably just run all the black shit in a row, right? Talk about some black ice, Black Friday, and then some black people. Put all the scary shit all into one little quick segment. But hey, but whatever. Anywho, all I'm trying to say is that educate yourself, see what's going on out there. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, pink, or green. If you're green, see a doctor. If you're pink, well, there's enough pink people here in Canada. Yeah, just read, find out. And if you're any sort of a human, it'll bug you just as much as it bugs me as a fellow human being. So anyways, it's just me, Adisa Glasgow, and a little bit of a commute back home. Felt like ranting. So peace, God bless.